I've been driving for Uber and Lyft for nearly a year now, mostly at night. It started out of necessity after I got laid off, but it became a strange sort of comfort. The streets were quieter, the world more honest in the dark. You see people at their rawest past midnight, drunk confessions, lonely rides home, and sometimes, things that don't quite make sense. One night in late October, I got a ping from a rundown bar just outside the city. A guy in his mid-30s stumbled toward my car, wearing a faded hoodie and jeans, reeking of cheap whiskey and stale cigarettes. He slouched into the backseat without a word. "Where to?" I asked, keeping my voice neutral. He grinned lazily. "Take me to the old bridge. County Line Road." That gave me pause. The bridge had been infamous for years, isolated, crumbling, and tied to more than one unsolved case. Still, I nodded, typed in the destination, and started driving. He was chatty at first. Told me his name was Rick. Claimed he used to be a carpenter, said he'd done time, talked about fate and karma like he was reciting scripture. But midway through the ride, his tone shifted. "You know," he said, voice slurring slightly, "they never found that girl." I stiffened. "Which girl?" He didn't answer directly. Just leaned forward so I could smell the alcohol on his breath. "She was smart, real sweet. She didn't deserve it. But life's unfair, right?" The road grew darker as we left the city behind. The streetlights ended, and we drove through winding forest roads. Trees pressed in on both sides. My heart began to pound. Rick kept mumbling. "People think they know who you are. But no one knows what's inside. Sometimes you surprise even yourself." We finally reached the bridge, a rusted-out span over a narrow ravine. No lights. No traffic. Just mist rising from the creek below. I slowed to a crawl. "This is good," he said suddenly. I pulled over, heart thudding. He didn't move. "You ever think about how easy it is?" he asked. "To do what?" I said, trying to stay calm. "To vanish. To make someone vanish." He turned toward me, and for a moment, I saw something raw in his eyes. Not drunk. Not even angry. Just empty. Then he opened the door and stepped out into the fog. I watched him walk toward the edge of the bridge and stop. He stood there motionless, like a statue, for nearly a minute. Then he turned and waved at me. I peeled out of there. I didn't look back. When I got home, I reported the ride to Uber. They followed up with a form email. No contact info, no real name. Just a ghost in the system. I still check the news sometimes, hoping I don't see that bridge in the headlines again. I'd only been driving for Uber for about 3 months when it happened. It was early March, cold, rainy, and quiet. Most nights I stuck to the downtown circuit, but that night, I got a request from the edge of a wooded suburban neighborhood. I pulled up to the pickup location, a cul-de-sac with a single flickering street lamp. A woman stood beneath it, arms crossed tightly over her chest, a duffel bag at her feet. She looked jumpy, scanning the shadows like she expected someone to lunge out of them. "You Laura?" I asked through the passenger window. She nodded quickly, grabbed her bag, and climbed into the back seat. "Can we just drive? Anywhere. Please." I frowned. I need to set a destination." "Set it to the mall or something. I'll tell you when to stop." Her voice was shaky. I hesitated, then tapped in a fake address just to activate the trip. We pulled away from the cul-de-sac and into the night. For the first few minutes, she said nothing. Just stared out the window, clenching her fists in her lap. "You okay back there?" I asked gently. She flinched. I couldn't stay there anymore. I needed to get away. "From your house?" She nodded, lips trembling. "He said he was done. He said he wouldn't hurt me again." But I didn't believe him. Not after the look he gave me. I felt a chill despite the heater. "Do you want to call the police?" "No," she said quickly. "No cops. Not yet." We drove aimlessly through side streets, the soft patter of rain on the windshield the only sound. After about 15 minutes, she said, "Okay. You can take me back now." I turned the car around, and as we re-entered her neighborhood, we saw flashing red and blue lights reflecting off wet pavement. 3 police cruisers were parked outside a house 2 doors down from her pickup point. Officers milled around the yard. One of them carried a bloodied kitchen knife in an evidence bag. She went completely still. "No," she whispered. No, he said he'd stop." She slid down in her seat, hugging her knees. I didn't know what to do. Before I could say anything, a cop waved us down. I rolled down the window. "She with you?" he asked. "She's my passenger," I said cautiously. The officer's expression tightened. "We need to talk to her." She got out slowly, visibly trembling. I sat there for 20 minutes, filling out a statement. From what I gathered, the woman's abusive boyfriend had attacked her sister who had come to check on her. The guy had called the cops himself, claiming someone broke in and attacked him. The truth came out fast. The sister survived. The man was arrested. And my ride became a piece of evidence in a domestic violence case. Uber emailed me days later to verify my timeline. I told them everything. I still think about that woman, about how close she came to becoming another headline. It was the kind of winter night that makes the air feel sharp in your lungs. Snow had started falling around 10 p.m., and by 2 a.m., it was thick and blinding. I should have gone home, but it had been a slow week, and I needed the money. That's when I got the ping from a gas station on the outskirts of Miller's Creek, a mostly rural area about 40 minutes from town. A lanky teenager stepped into my car, shivering, hoodie soaked at the shoulders. "You're freezing, man," I said, turning up the heat. "Phone died," he muttered. "Couldn't call anyone else. Thanks for coming." "No problem." "Where to?" He gave me a vague answer. "Just past Miller's Creek, near the old silo." That didn't sit right with me. The old silo hadn't been in use since the 90s. I remembered stories from local forums, strange lights, screams in the woods, even a rumored cult. Still, I needed the fare. I nodded and started driving. The deeper we went, the worse the road got. The snow had blanketed the trees, and the forest swallowed the moonlight. The kid barely spoke, but I noticed him muttering under his breath occasionally, like he was rehearsing something. "You okay back there?" I asked. He didn't answer, just said, "Turn right up ahead." I slowed down. The turn he pointed to wasn't a road, it was a dirt path carved through the woods. No signs, no lights, just snow-covered branches. "I don't think that's a real road," I said. "It's a shortcut," he replied. "Trust me, maybe just give me the full address." He turned and looked at me, his eyes suddenly sharp and focused. "Just take the turn." Against my better judgment, I did. The trees closed in, and the car bumped along the uneven path. I couldn't shake the feeling we were being watched. Then I saw them, 3 figures ahead, standing in the snow. No movement, no flashlights, just still, dark shapes facing the car. "Stop here," the kid said. "Nope," I whispered, shifting into reverse. "You don't understand," he said. "If we don't stop, they come to you. If you stop, you get a choice. I didn't wait. I backed out so fast I nearly hit a tree. My tires spun, but I managed to reverse onto the main road and speed off. The kid didn't say another word the entire ride back to the gas station. When we got there, he got out without a glance. I never saw his name come up in the app again. And when I checked my trip history later that night, it wasn't there.